Welcome in, Stags in the studio. This is episode 3 of the year. Today we're talking with women's and men's swim and dive. We have some special guests. We have head coach Jake Lichter for our coach here. Second season with the Stags. Last year he led both teams to top 3 finishes in the MAC. Before Fairfield, he spent 6 seasons in the Ivy League at Cornell. During his time at Cornell, he helped them win 2 Ivy League titles. And then at Ithaca, where he stopped before, he sent 10 swimmers to the NCAA championships. Graduated from Ithaca in 2013. Coach, welcome in, and welcome to Fairfield for your second year.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me these past 2 years. I mean, kind of crazy that, it's been 2 years already, but have just been an absolute blast, a pleasure, and, couldn't be more excited to be here.
Absolutely. Then we have Callie Gray, a senior from Newington, Connecticut, and last year finished second in the MAC Championship 200 IMB final. Also finished 4th in the MAC Championship 400 IM A final, and then finished second in the Monmouth 200 IM earlier in the year. Before Fairfield, she swam at Miss Porter School over in Farmington. Callie, welcome in.
Hi, thanks so much for having
Of
me.
course.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, we have junior Ryan Woodzell, a freestyle swimmer from Camden, Wyoming, Delaware. Finished second in B final last year, finished third in the Providence 300 free and the Monmouth 200 fly. Then additionally finished third in the 200 fly down at UMass. Before Fairfield, he swam at Caesar Rodney High School in Camden, Delaware. Ryan, welcome in.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Guys, obviously you guys are all from different parts of the country, different paths to coming here. Coach, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, you've had a couple of stops along the way here to Fairfield. I'm curious, how did Fairfield get your eye, or how did your eye get here to Fairfield?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, certainly spent the last 15 years or so in the Western New York area, but I'm, not unfamiliar with this, side of the country. My folks live up in Boston. So a couple reasons that Fairfield was put on my radar. One is that I did actually know the previous head coach that was here. I had an opportunity to work with her in some capacities, and she knew our assistant coach at Cornell really well. So just made that connection. So heard just through, word of mouth, great things about Fairfield. But then, when opportunities came knocking and Fairfield was one of those places, it really just checked all the boxes for me, and the things I talk about, a lot with recruits and just with the team is that, when I was looking at a place that I want to go and take that leap from, associate head coach to, big time CEO, right, is that Fairfield, they have the academics of, a place that puts people in positions after they graduate to have, a really worthy career, right? So it's not just that we're setting them up, for 4-year experiences here. We're setting up for 40 years beyond that. So, one, that was a no-brainer. 2 was an incredibly competitive swim program, right? You listed out some of our accolades, but even before I got here, the women have won 4 of the last 7 conference championships, and the men are always, kind of in that top 3, if not, top 2 position. And so certainly being at Cornell was really fun, but if you're not Harvard, Yale, Princeton, you're not contending for a title, right? We had some individual winners, which was fun, but I wanted to be part of a program that had potential to be winning conferences year in and year out. And then, certainly even just in my experiences here working with these guys in a little bit is I wanted to be part of a program that was really, really fun, and these kids make it fun every single day.
Yeah, I have friends that are swimmers. Callie and I work together in different capacities. So we have I work as a tour guide for a little bit of context, and we have a lot of swimmers in that office. And they're always talking about how fun it really is to just kind of show up. And you guys have some early mornings. I got a little insight yesterday. It was 5 a.m. this morning. Is that a common practice time?
Normally, our earliest practices start at 6,
okay.
But that still means, you're getting up at 5:15, You're walking out in the cold, at least right around now. So, there are some early mornings.
Yeah, but it's fun. Like, if you have a good team, good camaraderie, like, it's fun to be out in the early mornings, right?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think that, if you're doing anything challenging like this, and especially if you're doing it for 20 hours a week, and they can attest to it,
right. If
you're not having fun or if we as a coaching staff are not trying to bring an environment that creates this is something that we get to do versus something that we have to do, it makes that slog that much more challenging.
Absolutely. And I'll switch to you guys as student athletes. Callie, I'll ask you first. It's a very small school here in Fairfield. Obviously, you're in-state. So how did Fairfield kind of become on your radar in your recruiting process?
Great question. So as you mentioned, I am from Connecticut. So when I was looking at different colleges and also the recruiting process for swimming, I originally did not have Connecticut on the table. I said to my parents, absolutely no way do I want to go to school in Connecticut. I need to try something different. I need to branch out, all these things. And the head coach at the time reached out to me when I was a junior in high school And my parents just suggested that I come down, visit, check it out because they were a bit more knowledgeable. They knew it was very cute downtown. It was close to the beach. And they were like, you would absolutely love to go to a school like that in that downtown area, a nice little town. And so I came and I absolutely fell in love with it. After touring the campus, I just really felt like it was a good environment for me. And as Jake mentioned with the academics, I felt that I could fit in. Swimming wise, I thought that I would be in a position to be competitive, but also the team environment seemed so supportive and they were so welcoming that when I came to visit. So it, like Jake said, it kind of checked all my boxes as well. And after just going through the recruiting process a little bit more and applying to different schools, this one just worked out and I was so happy it did, and I still am so happy. And as you mentioned, Logan, like working in admissions, I have just really come to spread that love, and it like makes me so happy to talk to recruits and talk to prospective students who are in high school and just share a lot about my experience as a Fairfield student and also as an athlete at Fairfield University. And yeah, I just have a lot of love for here.
Yeah, and I think one thing that really makes Fairfield special, and agree with me if you do, and I think the community and being an athlete and being a student are not necessarily two different entities. You can pretty much intermingle in however way you want. Callie and I, obviously, we work together. Ryan, we talked about some mutual friends that we have throughout the campus. And in terms of your recruiting, Ryan, it's a little bit different. We talked about right before we got on here that it was more so your club and how you more competed in your club and practiced with your club. How was your recruiting process maybe the same or different from Callie's?
Yeah, so I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought about not swimming in college. And then I came to realize that I needed to swim. I realized that I've done it for 12 years, so I think I would go a little crazy if I didn't do it. So I looked everywhere. I applied to like Clemson just to go and be a student there. I looked to swim at George Mason down in Virginia, St. Louis University, like Providence College, like all these places. And then actually one of my old assistant coaches at one of my club teams, he was the assistant coach here at the time. So I reached out to him and I was able to come on a visit, and I came and I committed on the spot. So I really liked it here. I'm very happy I did that.
Wow, that's awesome. What like really makes you love like the community about like the swim team here? Like what like really stuck out to the team compared to like Clemson's swim team or Providence's swim team?
I'm a really big fun guy. I
Yeah.
think if you're not loving what you do and having fun, then I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
So one, that's a big thing for me, and I think we do that really well as a whole team, both men and women. And two, coming from Delaware where swimming's not as big of a sport, it was always kind of me, and I didn't really have many other people on my team.
Yeah.
It was like 5 or 6 people in my group, and that was it. So being on a group with 20, 30 guys is awesome for me every day
Yeah.
because I've been looking forward to that for so long, and I'm so happy that they're all my best friends.
Yeah, and it's like the bond like you guys like form from freshman year to like what you are now. It's just like you really kind of like grew with each other throughout college, which is like such an awesome thing to like be a part of.
Yeah, it's really awesome. One of the seniors last year, Joseph Stewart,
Yeah.
he's from New Zealand,
No way.
and like he graduated and went back home, but I still call him like every couple weeks.
Really?
So it does really make bonds that
Yeah.
last forever.
Would you
It's-
ever visit him?
I want to. I'm
Yeah.
going to. Yeah.
What is your best thing to do on an off day? Like no practice, nothing.
I would say I like to. Well, one, this is like the generic answer. I like to hang out with my buddies.
Yeah.
This semester I've been pretty busy. I spent a lot of my time in the library,
Mhm.
so I don't get to see them as much as I want to. So if I can spend the day like just sitting on the couch watching football with my roommates, that's a good day for me.
Yeah. What's your favorite swimmer? Like who's your favorite swimmer?
I'd say I like Jason Lezak. If you've ever seen this video, they're swimming in, I think it's the 400 free relay at the Olympics, and I don't know who's first.
It was Phelps.
Well, no, it was like France was beating
Oh,
us.
France. Yeah, France.
Yes.
France was
So,
winning at the
It's a
three-quarter
great
mark.
it's a great race. The France is like a body length or two ahead of us, and it's like the last lap, and Jason Lezak dives in and he catches the guy, and it's amazing.
For me, I think what's really important is recruiting nowadays is a little bit more challenging than kind of used to be with NIL, and you have different types of ideas. And I think, Coach, I want to stand a little bit into the process, maybe pick your brain a little bit about what's it like now to recruit here at Fairfield? And obviously you're a little bit new to it, only being a couple years in. So what has it been like the last 2 years to recruit athletes and also pull from the transfer portal as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think, one, what makes it really easy is that Fairfield is an incredible school with an incredible reputation and a really beautiful campus and so many things to boot. I think that selling Fairfield is really easy, getting kids on campus. I think that the university has done a phenomenal job of becoming, it certainly is a very regional name, but I think that over the past several years, especially with our athletics really improving and our brand really growing, and just you see the numbers from our acceptance rates decreasing, it really is becoming a national target, and so that has made recruiting a whole lot easier. Certainly for me, one of the big things that I really love to do when I try to recruit is, yeah, we're looking out for really good talent, but be able to build relationships and build connections, get an understanding from that prospect, right? Are they going to blend well with our program, right? Because there's plenty of good kids out there, but are they going to be able to come in and, appreciate those 6 a.m. morning practices? Are they going to come to practice with that passion, right? And are they going to be competitive and also care deeply about the academics, right, that we have here? So recruiting has, certainly been, one of my favorite components of this is trying to sell the school. I think, having some of those more resources, as you described, some of those NILs, being able to pull a little bit more from the transfer portal is just, value adds for us. And we benefit from trying to take advantage of those new opportunities that we have now. But honestly, bringing kids out on campus and just giving them over to, Ryan and Callie, it pretty much sells itself.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ryan and Callie, who are both now upperclassmen. Callie obviously being a senior, Ryan, you're a junior. What is it like to have not only them, but also your other leadership in the upperclassmen as well?
I couldn't do what I'm doing without them. And I have to say, first and foremost, last year, it being my first year, we would not have been as successful as we were if it weren't for that leadership. Because certainly, you have kind of a new sheriff coming into town, and easily the team can say, hey, this guy's bringing some new ideas, things are harder, things are different, and you can have a moment where the captains and leadership just say, hey, we're not about this, right? And that was not the experience I had. Yes, we were doing things differently. Yes, there's always a little bit of friction when somebody comes in, but they wanted to give it a go, and they really jumped in head first and allowed me, my assistant Emma, to do what we thought was best. And you really couldn't ask for more. We changed some things, but when it came to the dynamic and culture, that was not a ship that we had to, change course on, right? That was just something that we just tried to put as much momentum behind the sails as possible. And I feel like having that core leadership last year and then transferring it into the leaders that we have this year, it makes me feel like that instead of, 3 coaches on the pool deck, we have, 8, 9, 10 coaches because, they're there, reinforcing what we're saying, but, also they lead by example so well that, I couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, and I've done numerous interviews of athletes and coaches, and it just tends to be kind of the same answer. Oh, we have more than 3 coaches or 4 coaches. We have leaders throughout, and I think that's a testament to what Fairfield does, not only in the classroom, but throughout other academic resources that they use, throughout other clubs that they may join or other friends that they have. So we've talked about the transfer portal. We've talked about the men's team a little bit. By the way, Joe is one of my favorite humans on the planet. I love Joe very much. And Callie, I have to ask, I was talking to a women's swimmer the other day, and she was talking about how in the Olympics and then college swim, how they're actually college swim maybe a little bit faster at times. I don't know how true that is, but I do believe that in trials and things like that, there are some college swimmers here in America that tend to be a little bit faster. What makes college swim so exciting to watch at the end of the day?
Oh, great question. With technicalities of swimming, I'm not the best person to ask. I love swimming. I love the team. I don't necessarily take that love to the pro level, so I'm not entirely sure about maybe all the time-wise with Olympics and trials and college swimming. But what I think makes women's college swimming so exciting, honestly, and speaking, as a member of the Fairfield women's team, there is just so much support. And so I think that for our team, and I think that it would extend to then other women college swim and dive teams, is that you really just want to see your teammates do so well. And so I'm always trying to watch my teammates and watch the girls and see how they're diving, see how they're swimming, ask, oh, was that a best time? Like ask Jake and Emma and our new coach, Jeff. if it was a best time or if they just improved a little bit from prelims to finals. And just really, I feel like with the women's team at Fairfield and then just across colleges, it's really getting involved and just really being invested. And so I think that's maybe what makes it so exciting, is that you want to watch and you want to see them succeed. And if they do, that's amazing. But, even if they don't, that person did their best, and you're still going to be there for them and say good job and give them a hug and be like, that was amazing. So I really think that maybe it just comes down to support and all the friendship.
Yeah, I think I now want to be a swimmer. I think this seems like a
You
fun time.
should.
I mean, I would never survive. I always tell people I would never survive in the pool. I don't know how you do any of that. Like I'd like to think I'm a pretty decent, casual swimmer,
I believe it.
but I don't know if I could keep up. I don't know what were your chances, Coach? What do you think the chances of an average person, how long could they go before they would start to struggle in a pool?
I think it entirely depends, but I think you got to give yourself more credit than you are.
All right, fair
someone
enough.
is generally, has a little bit of athleticism, but a lot of it is just some determination, right?
Okay.
If you've got the determination, if you've got the drive, if you have willingness, just like anything else, right, to be slightly uncomfortable for a little bit of, period of time, right, you can really, really improve. And honestly, this is coming from somebody who is not athletic, right, is, somebody who I got into swimming because, you put your head down and you grind and you get better, but you put a lacrosse stick in my hand or a basketball in my hand, take me off the court, right? Nobody wants to see that. So it really is one of those sports where I think that, you put in the hard work, you can see the results. And so I think that, you got to give yourself some credit because, you could be good.
I think you're right, though. I think that's with anything. And that's kind of like a life metaphor as well, to be able to take determination if you have kind of the mental side of it. I don't know how swim mentally is. I don't know if you want to give me, Coach, a little bit of insight of how mentally draining it is, more so than your physical ability.
Yeah, I think that these two could probably speak, pretty well at length about that because, it certainly is, a challenging mental game. And one of the things that we talk a lot about, right, is having that grit. Woody says get gritty all the time because it is a grind, and it is one of those sports where you really have to appreciate delayed gratification because this is a sport where it's not necessarily something that you play, it's something that you do, right? Something that you're training for. And so you are putting in a lot of hard work today for results that don't pay off next week or next month or even at the end of the year sometimes, right? But all of that stuff, having that understanding that you are continuing to chip away and, every ounce of energy that you put in, it, will come out on the other side, but you just need to be patient. Sure. You need to be diligent. But then also, I think one thing that, as you talked about before, what makes college swimming so great is having that support network, right? When it's not just about you and when you're doing it for something larger than yourself, it allows you to, one of our, kind of our slogans this year are, leave your mark for the women and for the men. It's, for the family. And so they're all thinking about how can I be better for the team, right? And that all comes down to when I'm struggling, personally, okay, what can I do for the team, right? Because now I need to be the one that steps up. And I think that alleviates some of that individual pressure. But I think these two, we just got through our midseason meet. We're in the middle of finals, still getting up at 6 a.m. They probably could speak to, how do you manage that struggle when things get hard.
So tell us, what's your typical day as a D1 swimmer here at Fairfield?
A typical day, let's see. If we have practice at 6, we would swim and then lift. The women are swimming first this year, so that's just one difference with a schedule is we would just swim first and then walk our way up to lift. After that, as I mentioned, I work in admissions, so I maybe would have a shift for a few hours at work where I would interact with prospective students, interview them, ask them some questions, help out with the front desk, check in families, answer some phone calls for people who just have questions about Fairfield. Then I would probably have a class or two, head to practice again, eat a little something in there as well. Definitely, yes, very big on making sure.
We're big on lunch here.
Yes, big on lunch, big on lunch. So would also have a little something. Then probably head to practice again, do our workout, swim a little bit more there, maybe have another class or another shift at work, and then head home for the day. Do some homework, try and maybe interact with my roommates, say hi. And then just depending on how much I have to do or whatnot, it would maybe be hanging out with them or doing homework and doing work. So, yeah.
So I'm pretty much the same. We go to practice in the morning. Then one thing I think our team does really well is we all eat breakfast together. in the Tully, we make one big table, and that's kind of a really big part of my day.
Yeah.
I really like talking to all my teammates and seeing how they're like checking in with them. And then after breakfast, I normally have class, and then I normally go to the library in between classes, and I have another class, and then it's back to practice. And then after that, depending on what I have to do, I'll either eat here at the Tully and do more work, or I'll go home and I'll cook dinner for myself. So kind of the same thing as Callie.
What's your like favorite part like of your day?
As much as some people dread it, I think waking up and lifting and swimming might be my favorite part of my day, because the days we don't do it, I end up feeling really groggy, and I think I've kind of forced myself to be like that. So even when I'm done swimming, I could totally see myself waking up like before work, getting a workout in. I just feel more energized throughout the day.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of your day?
I think one of my favorite parts of my day would be eating breakfast at the Tully, like Woody mentioned. I this year, with just my class schedule, swim and work, I can only go and eat breakfast at the Tully on Friday mornings. And genuinely, it is the best part of my week. I have looked forward to it every week this semester when it's Thursday or Wednesday, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a tough week. I literally would say to myself, but I can get breakfast at the Tully with my teammates on Friday morning, and that's all that matters. And I can get coffee with them and then walk to class and just have a day. So I genuinely think that eating and being with my teammates on Friday mornings at the Tully is my favorite.
Yeah, I see those big tables. The sports teams, you guys are good at it. You guys have some art that I can't figure out, but it does, as funny as we make it, I think it does really pay dividends later on. I don't know, do the coaches attend that breakfast as well, or is that something where it's just kind of the athletes take their time? Or
It's mostly the athletes, right?
Okay.
There are certainly opportunities where, coaches will jump in for meals and things like that.
Sure.
But I think that that's what makes, one, the Fairfield experience, especially as a student athlete, unique. And what makes this team so connected is that stuff that they want to do together, right? And that, you coaches are always, trying to think of different, bonding activities and things like that we can do to grow our culture. But really, it warms my heart so much to hear Callie say, the thing that I look forward to most is having breakfast with my teammates on Friday morning, right? You can do all the training that you want in the world, and you can do all of the, mental training. You can do all those, team building activities. But if you have a culture like that, there's few things that are going to get in the way of your success.
Absolutely. And Coach, and you and your staff are not only training them to be swimmers, but you're also training them to be young professionals as people as well. Is there a certain message or motto that you continue to ingrain in them to make sure you're not only preparing them just for your 4 years here, but also in the future as well?
Yeah, I think, one, we have a standard that we set at the beginning of the year, and actually something that I came in with from, programs that I've worked with in the past, but better than before has been kind of stamped all over my office as well as on, their locker room doors, and just a constant reminder that you can always be striving to do something a little bit better, right? In every kind of moment and facet of your life, you can be striving to do things better. We really try to put them in a position where they can hold themselves to a high standard, right? Where we want to, raise the ceiling, but also raise the floor, right? And so just kind of put them in positions where, they're expecting more of themselves. But I honestly think that because of the discipline that they are forced to exhibit with our practice schedule and, with the grueling training schedule and with school, I feel as a former swimmer, there are few challenges that I go through that I feel like I haven't been prepared for by going through this sport and by, striving to be successful there as well as balancing that school as well. So I think just being a student athlete in general and being physically, emotionally, and, mentally challenged, right? There's few things in life that are going to prepare you better, in my opinion.
And you guys, as student athletes, are in a little bit different of a spot in your life. I'll start with you, Ryan, first this time. Is there a component of swim or a swim memory that you have that you feel has prepared you for a moment outside of your life?
Yeah, for sure. I think really what comes to mind is just going the extra mile on just about everything you do. I think with swimming, you have to be fully prepared to go in and race. And I think that translates well to like assignments and projects. Like I often find myself doing things that I don't necessarily have to do, but I know it'll help my grade or help my professor see something. And I think that's coming from swimming. I think in high school, I did the extra practices. I woke up in the morning, did what I'm doing now, which is the normal now. But I think that really translates into my school and assignments and job opportunities is like, oh, I'll do the extra thing to set myself apart.
Sure. And Callie, is there an experience that may be similar?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one experience that comes to mind is actually last spring, Ryan and I were applying in the running to be team captains. And when I was debating about whether I should run or not, I really had this epiphany, and I thought of Better Than Before, and I was like, oh man, this is what Jake's been talking about. I was like, even if I don't get it, like, that's okay, but I should just try and be better than I was before. And even going through the process of, giving a speech in front of my teammates and in front of the coaches, it was a little nerve-wracking for me, and I was scared to do it. But I was telling myself, man, if I want to try and be better than I have been in the past, and in the future looking for jobs and applying for different positions and going through the interview process, I was like, I'm gonna have to do things that are really scary and different. So that really gave me the motivation and the courage to give that speech and apply for that role. And yeah, I think that was just a big moment for me. I was like, wow, it's not just in the swimming world Better Than Before, and what we talk about in practice and in meets and when we have team meetings, this can be applied in so many different aspects of life. So that was a big light bulb moment for me.
Ryan, what was like your most pivotal moment as an athlete that changed your outlook?
This will be a little bit of a longer story, but
Yeah.
in Delaware, there's not many swim teams, right? So before COVID, I swam. It was I was at a Y, like 15 minutes away from my house. It was awesome. That was one of my favorite coaches I've ever had. I still talk to him to this day. And then COVID happened, and my team got dissolved. So obviously, I wasn't going to stop swimming.
Yeah.
And the next closest team was an hour away. And this team, I had a good experience, but we did so much stuff, and it was so hard consistently that I couldn't really handle it. It was kind of overpowering, and it made me kind of fall out of love for the sport. So, because I would go to online school all day, and then I'd wait like 4 hours. Practice was 6 to 8, so I had to leave at 5, and then I'd get home at 9, and I'd do some crazy 9,000-yard set, which is a lot in 2 hours. And eventually I was just like, I don't really like this anymore. So, and then the icing on the cake was we were supposed to go to Boys and Girls Club Nationals in Florida, and the week before I got COVID. So
No.
that kind of stunk too. But I made up my mind by then. So
Yeah.
after that, I quit the team because I didn't love it. I didn't want to go to practice. And this is why I'm such a big advocate for having fun, is there's no point if you're not going to enjoy what you're doing. So then junior and senior year of high school, I went on a different team. It's a little younger, but that kind of allowed me to just progress back into the sport and rekindle that love. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's ever happened to me in this sport, is kind of learning that I didn't like it and then relearning that love for the sport.
Yeah, and I feel like with a lot of people, like, once someone falls out of love with the sport, like, they just quit it and they're done. And I just feel like it's so unique that you're able to really love a sport at first, become uninterested with it for a little bit, and then really fall in love with it again. Do you know what aspects made you, like, fall in love with swimming again?
So my coach at the team that I didn't really enjoy, he was always yelling at you. And it was like, oh, you didn't make this time. What are you doing? Like, you need to go faster. And I think just being there and having that yelling being kind of the only thing I see at swimming, especially during COVID, I think that really made me fall out of love for it. And also doing the crazy sets, that was probably another big part. But when I got back into it, like I said, it was kind of a younger team. So I was kind of a role model for a lot of these really fast, like 10, 12-year-olds. And I think that really kind of brought me back into it, because I knew I loved swimming. It's just I didn't really like where I was at the time. So I kind of took some pressure off myself and kind of saw if I could bring my energy around the people around me. And that really helped me rekindle it. And that's something I think I do pretty well now, is I love my guys, and I like boosting them and seeing what they could do the best.
Yeah, and I feel like it's definitely like a team effort in swim, even though it's like a very individual sport like running. I just feel like you still have this team where it's like your support system, and it like strives you to do better each and every time. Callie, what was your pivotal moment?
I actually was trying to think about that while Woody was answering. To be completely honest, I kind of fell out of love with swimming for years. It was just something I did. That was probably around junior year of high school, and that was also the start of COVID. So very lonely, isolating to still go to practice and be like the only one in a lane, and having my team, or like, you know, having the team needed to be split up and there could only be like 6 people at a time, not being able to see anyone. I think I really grew to not like the sport anymore. And that kind of continued for a few years. It's challenging mentally to, as we said, to always have that grit and that determination and want to do better. And it's also, like you said, with running, you're kind of lonely when you're in the water. It's just you and yourself putting your head down and swimming. And I think that just for a little bit, it got tough. And I think that I restarted to honestly fall in love with it. Maybe it was last year, the end of I honestly think it was last year. I'm not going to lie. Because my freshman and sophomore year, I feel like I was of college. I feel like I was, again, just kind of doing it, especially freshman year. I feel like your first year, it can be a bit tough to adjust to this new schedule because in high school, at least for me, I didn't swim as often. I never lifted before. And so that was definitely an experience to get back in or start that and to get into this new schedule. So I definitely had an adjustment period for my first year. And sophomore year, yeah, I just was kind of like coasting through it. But I think last year when we had a new coach come in and it was just different and there were just some changes, I really just grew to love it a bit more, and fell in love with it a bit more. And one thing for me and my why with swimming is the team. It's, for me, I want to see everyone succeed. And I feel like sometimes I'm even more invested in people's own races than myself because I just want to see everyone do well and reach their goals. So when I'm struggling now through a practice or through a meet, I'll really think back to the team and be like, this is for them. This is, for the women's team, even the men's team. I'm like, it's something that's much bigger than myself. And I think that gives me the motivation to keep going.
Yeah, I think first off, I sympathize with both of you. I was a 3-sport athlete as well.
Yeah.
So I totally understand what it's like. You have a love for something, but at the same time, you can love it so much that it gets to a point where it does become exhausting. Coach, you just listened to 2 of your athletes both mention a change last year and how they may have fell back in love with the sport after you came in. What does it mean to not only have 2 athletes, but possibly more athletes have that type of impact on you?
Yeah, I mean, it's very humbling, and it makes me really appreciate and validate why this is the profession that I decided to go into. Because for me, it's all about building relationships. Yes, I want them first and foremost to get better. We talk about improvements, but to take it one step back, my first job out of college was I was working as event and facility manager about 8 hours a day, and I was coaching part-time on the side. And I thought that that's what I wanted to do. I thought that I wanted to run events and do things like that, and I realized the best part of my day was the 2 hours I spent interacting with athletes, and the worst part of my day was the 8 hours that I spent doing all this planning, doing all these emails. And I thought to myself, hey, if I ever have an opportunity to do this full-time, I'm going to enjoy every single moment of it. And so I think for me, it really it makes me appreciate what I'm doing, but I also feel very grateful that these are the athletes that I get to work with, that we share that same passion for, that we want to be around each other, we want to lift each other up, and we want to go out there and try to do hard things, but also just do it as a group and see how good we possibly can be. But I appreciate it very much, and the feeling is mutual, right? They lift me up as much as I do them.
Yeah, there's no secret why you guys are successful. I really do think, like, obviously you've mentioned many times of, yes, you do push them in the pool and in practice and in that capacity, but you also find ways to have that reciprocated. I think, is there a way that your athletes also motivate you to be better as well?
Oh, 100%. And I will be the first one to say that it's often, you look at coaches, you look at, hey, they're the ones who are giving these motivational speeches, they're the ones who are giving the inspiration, but I can tell you without a second of a doubt, seeing them do stuff in practice, seeing them go out there and achieve their goals in meets, seeing them go out and just do things as a team, that's what inspires me. And I try to make that highlighted as much, if not more, than, hey, this is what we need to do to be doing better, because really that's what I think is, there's no such thing as like magic dust that allows people to get better or to, get people where they want to be. But if there were, I think that's what it is.
And as athletes, you guys, Callie, I don't mean to make it emotional, but you are very close to the end of your time here at Fairfield. Ryan, you have about a season and a half, give or take. What has been the most impactful moment you've had maybe in the pool or outside of the pool while you've been here at Fairfield? I'll start with you, Callie.
Okay. So I know the dreaded G word is coming up, graduation, and I try to.
What about the J word, job?
Oh my.
Yeah, is that a tough one too?
Out of sight, out of mind. That's my fault. That's been my philosophy the past few months. How I cope, but yeah, I think I have so many impactful moments that it's tough to choose just one. I think a lot of the impactful moments come from our championship meet at the end of the season. And that is true. There are a lot of really inspirational swims and, people when it's really tough during that 4-day meet or multiple day meet, where people push through, and it's really inspiring, and it makes me more motivated to do better as well. But I think that a lot of impactful moments come from just the day to day, because everybody has their own thing going on, their own struggles, their own successes. And I think that, just from the day to day, seeing all of my friends and all of us different athletes, having different schedules, coming from different classes, different majors, having different, maybe part-time jobs and whatnot, just still coming in and continuing to work so hard, even just on the average day. I think that is what has been really impactful for me, and something that I think I will continue to take through the rest of my life. And after this G word happens in a few months, it's just that coming day in and day out and just grinding it out and being with others and supporting them and having fun is so important. And that's what's just going to take you through everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this year, especially, the most impactful thing that I think we've done is we had a dual meet against Marist, and kind of setting it up last year. Marist beat us by 7 points. I think the last 40 years we were 1-39 against Marist, and this year we beat them by 110 points, I think. And going from losing to 5 by winning by 110, that's really awesome. And I think it shows that what Jake's doing here is working. And it's really a confidence booster for us and the team. It's like, yeah, we can do it. We can go and we can try and win this championship at the end of the year.
As you guys talk about how, you guys have had so many impactful moments being on the swim team, what are your guys' favorite memories that you've had?
So like I said, as I was on that new team junior to senior year, I think I really was able to leave an impact on some of the younger swimmers. And now I go back home and I train with them a little bit, and now they're pretty good. Some of them are faster than me. So I think just seeing them grow into who they are, and kind of high school, they're all really fast, and kind of just grow into the swimmers they are and see that I was able to impact them. I think that's really fulfilling to me and one of the best things.
Awesome. Callie, what about you?
I think one of my favorite memories is, with winter break coming up. So we come back a bit earlier than other students do to come back for practice and keep training, because we have our championship in a few months in February. And my first year over this winter break, it was also a bit lonely because I wasn't living with any of my friends yet. All of the kids in my class, we were not living together, so we were all in different rooms. So sometimes I would go back and at night when I was asleep by myself, I was like, oh, this is kind of sad. I'm kind of sad to be here alone. And over the years, and last year specifically, my roommates and I we made a whole bucket list of things that we wanted to do over this break. So whether it was, go shopping in Westport, go out to dinner, start and finish a movie or a TV series, play different games, get together with our class, get together with the underclassmen. There was just so much that we did, and that was so fun. And it was really just a great time for us to, no one else is really on campus, but our team and maybe a few others. And so we were like, we're going to make the most with each other and the time that we have. And it was really great. It was really special. So I'm looking forward to maybe doing something similar again and still, having the team all together during those weeks where, it's just kind of like us here.
Awesome. Good to hear. What's your favorite memory on the team?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, they go from kind of, the extremes all the way down to just really mundane interactions of just, joking around with, people. Like some of the things that there's a few, but some of the things that I really think fondly of this year is on Thursdays, sometimes we do recovery day where things are pretty easy, and I will just put a hangman up on the whiteboard and we'll just play hangman, right? And I know that sounds so trivial, but like the team is happy, they're bonding with each other, we're joking around, and it's those simple things like that I think about so much. But then it extends onto, one of my favorite memories from this year is it's a long fall season, and we end that season with a meet right before Thanksgiving at BU, which is a 3-day, 2 sessions per day meet. So they're swimming, multiple events. They're swimming for multiple days, and the most challenging day, in my opinion, is that third day, and particularly that second session on that third day. And I thought this year we just absolutely hit it out of the park in terms of our energy, our support, our cheering section on that time when everybody else is tired, when everybody has an excuse to not want to push through. I thought that we just ended that meet with an incredible exclamation point. And then after the meet, after we have this great session, our bus breaks down. And like everyone is at the point where like you could be just cracking right now. Like we're about to go, everyone wants to go home for Thanksgiving. Everyone's got finals. Everyone's so stressed out. And instead of the team breaking down like our bus did, everyone gets off of the bus to get ready to go on to the next bus, and they start doing karaoke out. We're outside Boston. We're in the middle of Boston proper, right? We're right outside BU, and everybody is just singing Christmas karaoke with arms around each other. And like, I'm an emotional guy. Like I wanted to cry in that moment because I just felt like this is what makes this team so special, is that we can go through all of this stuff together. We can have this great experience, and then this terrible moment where a bus breaks down and we have to wait 2-3 hours for a new bus. And instead of them cracking and complaining, they all got together. They started singing karaoke at the top of their lungs. And, that just, to me, will be a complete example of why this team is just so fun and so special.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from New Hampshire, but Boston is my city. But I know they probably, I don't know if you saw anybody, I don't know if you were still on campus, but I'm sure they probably enjoyed that. I would assume the people of Boston, I don't know if a lot of people are very vocal in Boston.
We were like down a back alley, so we were like kind of off the beaten path. Like we were right behind the ice rink. But
I know exactly where that campus is. So I get
we
it.
were really secluded, and again, I was just thinking like, man, how am I going to keep morale up because it's already 8:00 at night. They have class the next day, and I'm requiring them to practice, in 24 hours. Like, what are they going to do? And, nobody shed a tear or anything, and it was actually the exact opposite.
Totally
It was
awesome.
so fun.
I always end all these interviews with one question. I give it to all of you. I'll start with you, Coach. I know you've only been here for 2 years, but you've been in the coaching game for a little bit longer than that. When it's all said and done, however many years down the line that is, what is the impact that you want to have your athletes remember you by?
I don't know. That's such a loaded question, but I hope that when it's all said and done, they'll just think that I cared and I wanted the best for them.
Callie, as an athlete and as now a leader on this team and within this university, what would your impact want to be as soon as that G word does come around?
Yeah, that is such a loaded question. I think that I would want, kind of like what Jake said, that just I care. I would hope that my impact would be that I was a very supportive teammate and classmate and person and friend, and that I'm always here for people, and that I'm always just a call away or around, and that's what I would say maybe.
What do you've had two people to think about this? Do you have an answer in mind?
Yeah, I think I want to walk away with some of my best friends. We spent 4 years together swimming, and I think those relationships really last. And I think as long as I walk away with all my buddies knowing they can still contact me and that we're still always going to be friends, I think that'll be the greatest impact I could leave.
Absolutely. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I mean, this has been so fun to learn about you guys and to be able to see a different perspective. You know, it's very interesting, obviously, the results and the swimming. It's all great stuff, and this is obviously the main reason you're here. But I really do think there is a deeper connection with this team, and being able to foster that and maybe unpack that a little bit has been great over the last 45 minutes. So I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy weeks. It's a busy week for students, obviously, in finals week. Busy time of the year for you as well, especially with preparation and practices multiple times a day. So, Coach, Callie, Ryan, really a pleasure for you guys to come in here today and learn from us. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that you have, like maybe an elevator pitch? This can come from anybody to maybe come watch Fairfield swim. I know there's a couple home swim meets, but any pitches?
Yeah, I mean, well, we have our senior meet coming up January 17th, and so, you know, not many students are around, but if you are around and if you've never been to a swim meet, I really encourage you to come. It is a great time with tons of energy, and, you know, I think that what our team does really, really well is that we race really hard, and those races are close, and it's going to be a really good one against Iona. Last year, it came down to the very last two events for our men's team, and I think it's going to be an equal race and competition this year on both sides. So if you've never been to a swim meet but you enjoy high-stakes competition, it's a warm environment, you know. So if you're chilly in the middle of January and you want to come in for something warm, you know, please come out and support us. And I think that, you know, you will really enjoy the atmosphere, and you know, the team makes a great show of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, quick, there's lots of cheering. It's really fun. It can be loud. It also can be hot, so probably wear a T-shirt. Lots of cheering. It's also senior day, so you're going to be seeing people, you know, swim for some of their last times, me included. So it would be a wholesome, really fun, like Jake said, high stakes, energetic time. So, yeah, try something different.
Yeah, I don't want to repeat everything that Callie and Jake have said, and I don't want to jinx it, but the men's team's never lost at home in the last 4 years. So it's also cool. It's going to be a good meet. It's always a really exciting meet to watch because it's always close. So I think it's worth coming out and seeing us swim.
Absolutely. Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Jake, Callie, Ryan, a.k.a. Woody. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys in. From Colette Henley, myself, Logan Rundy, the head sports director here at WVOF. Go watch our other videos as well. We have a bunch of other athletes that we've represented over the past few years. Check us out on Twitter at WVOF Sports, Instagram, WVOF Radio. It's going to be a fun time. Guys, best of luck for the rest of your seasons and the rest of your career.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is all
Thank you.
ours. Thank you.